Hello, dreamers, doers, believers, and achievers, wonderful winners, and powerful people. How are you? I'm author, teacher, speaker Dwayne Shigg, author of Encouragements for Tough Times, Encouragements from a Formerly Frustrated Dreamer, and I got a new workbook out called A Motivational Manual for Manifesting Your Dreams. I'll talk to you about that later. I want to give you an encouragement about quarantine. That's right, quarantine. This past week has been very interesting. My wife had a positive COVID test, and I obviously had to take a test, and mine was negative. And then after a week, I took another one, and it was negative, and she's doing much better. But we were in quarantine. We were in quarantine from society, but also quarantine from one another. And so a couple of things I learned while in quarantine. One, just because you're down doesn't mean you're done. That's right. This past week during this quarantine, I had a cold or flu or something, and I never get sick. I haven't had a cold in 4 years, but I was in the bed for 2 days and didn't do anything. That's unusual for me. Didn't do anything, then felt guilty because I wasn't doing anything. And so quarantine is when there are restrictions. Quarantine is when there are boundaries. Quarantine is when you can't do anything. You can't do certain things. You can't go anywhere. You can't move. And so just because you're down doesn't mean you're done. Yeah, you may be down right now, but you can still write the book. You may be down right now, but you can still get back to your exercise. You may be down right now, but you can still get back to doing some things. And so don't think because you're down that you're done. While I was down, there's some things I could do. Remove some negative thinking, remove some things that were restricting me. One of the things, the cold, the flu, the whatever I had, removing those things, just pumping myself full of lemon ginger tea and some other things, just to remove all those things from me. Also removing negative thinking from me. I was down. I couldn't do certain things, and I don't like that. But I had to remove that negative thinking and remind myself that there's still great things to be done. How do I do that? There's certain videos I watch. I like the comedian Sinbad, so I would watch some videos and laugh, and then I'd watch some Eric Thomas videos. So removing and then reminding myself that there's still, and this leads me to the next one, there's still some things to do. Just because you can't do some things doesn't mean you can't do something. You can do something. I had books to promote, but I couldn't go to any book signings or anything like that. And then my new workbook, I did a live book release promotion for that. So just because you can't do something doesn't mean you can't. Just because you can't do some things doesn't mean you can't do something. A variation of something my Auntie Elise would always say. So you're in quarantine physically, you're in quarantine emotionally, mentally, but just because you can't do some things doesn't mean you can't do something. I couldn't go anywhere. I need to get to the barbershop. You can obviously see that my hair looks whack. But just because I couldn't do that doesn't mean I couldn't do some other things. There's some trees in my backyard I needed to cut down. There's some things around the house I needed to do. Brainstorming on some things. So still able to do some things. So just because you can't do some things doesn't mean you can't do something. And just because you're down doesn't mean you're done. So whatever type of quarantine you're in, you can get through it. You'll be all right. Come on through. Just because you're down doesn't mean you're done. And just because you can't do some things doesn't mean you can't do something. This is the workbook I was telling you about. Even though I was down, I still released it. I still did a book signing. A book release celebration, letting people know about it. Motivational Manual for Manifesting Your Dreams. Those of you who are entrepreneurs, businesses to build, goals to get, success to seize, this book will help you. It's a workbook. We talk about writing the vision, but also having the right vision. Then we break down this acronym, DREAM, D, diagnose your dreams, rebound, eliminate excuses, and then some other things. And then there's some motivational messages in here. And my 2 encouragement books, Encouragements for Tough Times and Encouragements from a Formerly Frustrated Dreamer. You can get your copy of either of these on Amazon.com. If you want an autographed copy, you can send $13 to the Cash App, Shig Biz. Just indicate which book it is that you want. that's going to do it for me. I trust that something was said that helped you in some way. You have a great day, evening, and always remember that the dream is doable. So go get it. Stay encouraged. Be blessed.